So hang on. Ooh, exciting, isn't it?
Jesus.
Excellent. What's this
Right.
going to be used for?
It's going to be on the promo video, apparently, for the next poetry.
All right, okay.
I didn't know that. Otherwise, I would have worn more than my pajamas. That's why I've got. Never mind. It's fine.
It's very loose, so very loose. Louche. Okay. Right, here we go. Right, so Ross, great to have you on here. You're a regular of Poetry.
Indeed.
And rumour has it, you're one of Sophie's favourites.
Oh.
I mean, I've heard the rumours, but, you know, where's the evidence?
No, this is true. This is absolutely true.
I state it every time we have an event to multiple people in the crowd. There's your evidence. That's it. And you walked away from that event with a bottle of whiskey and chocolates. What other way is there to say that you're my favourite? It was a rigged raffle as well. You're welcome.
Oh, it really was.
I was being satirical, obviously, but, you know.
Right. So ahead of Poetry, which you're headlining.
Yes. Oh, all right. Oh, that'll be good then. Yeah,
surprise.
Yeah. No, I knew about it, obviously.
Yeah, you found out at
the last
Poetry at Stanford, didn't you? When Gary announced it to everyone. Awesome. So ahead of that, we've got some questions we want to ask you to get some more knowledge about the Ross that we know and love. The Ross, which is part of our family.
Right? Oh, I feel so welcome.
Hello, mate. I know. So I'm going to kick off with the first question. Okay. So first of all, what can you tell us about your collection that you put together? Because you've got a book out. What can you tell us about it?
Well, I mean, what do you want to know, really? It's the first book that I have produced. It's some of my earlier work, stuff that I've done over the past 10 years. I sort of started writing when I was about 19, actually, but over the past 10 years, I've been putting a few more bits together, and then just decided to put it into a book. And hopefully I've got another one coming out soon as well.
Oh, awesome. Awesome.
Nice.
What was I going to say? Yeah, because we've noticed, both me and Soph have commented that as you've been coming to Poetry over and over, the writing's got massively stronger each time. Is this all your new work, or is it stuff you're delving back into? Are you writing a lot at the moment?
See, a lot of the stuff I bring to Poetry gets read out maybe once, and then I kind of go, yeah, that wasn't really what I wanted to say, and it ends up in a different form a lot of the time. So the stuff that's actually in my first book is sort of the cream of the cream sort of thing. The stuff that I think actually, yeah, this has got a wider appeal, and maybe it's not so abstract so that people don't really understand it. So hopefully most people will be able to pick up my book and sort of get it, and it won't be, too hard to read.
Well, no, and me and Soph both need a coffee, don't we, Soph? So you'll have to bring some to next Poetry and flog it.
Definitely. Can you shut that door, please? Okay, moving on to question number 2. Where did the title... Are you finished, Si?
Yeah, you crack on, Soph.
Where did the title come from for Insomniac of the Forest? Where did you think of that title? Was it something that was brewing or recently brewed or brewed Poetry? Hey, Sophie?
Nice.
So yeah, the title is sort of a combination of aspects of me. I do suffer from insomnia. I think, Si, you're a bit of an insomniac as well, aren't you?
You're getting that confused with idiot.
Oh,
yes. Yeah, no, sometimes I am. Sometimes I'm not as bad, because you've mentioned it during Poetry and you've addressed it. I'm certainly nowhere near as bad as you, mate.
Well, it's sort of a process of catharsis as well. You know, you bring stuff out to Poetry nights and you just kind of express yourself, and then it helps on a lot of levels. So yeah, the insomniac part is definitely a part of my life, although I wish it wasn't. I do have good times rather than just being constantly sleepless. And the of the forest bit is I think the idea, and it does, hopefully the book explains the title inside it. If you read it, you kind of get to know what I'm on about. But the idea is that, you know, forestry is quite a calm and serene place, and just kind of somewhere to find your center. And I think that's probably what's missing within the problem of insomnia. The reason they're together is, well, I actually saw that picture on the cover. I took that whilst in a forest, and it just kind of struck me that there was this floor of bracken and rotting leaves and stuff, and there was this bright red toadstool, or several. And I thought, wow, look at what grows off of all the stuff that's discarded. And in fact, you know, like mushrooms and fungus, they need really dim light to create these vivid, amazing colors. And I thought, what a contrast. So it's definitely poetic.
Wow. No, seriously. Yeah.
The whole picture, that's so true. Like I feel like when you can't sleep on a night and you're tossing and turning, it's so easy to picture like outside, like what's the outside doing in the darkness, you know, and like thinking about the forest. So I totally agree with that. I resonate with that. That's amazing. Really, really cool.
So I'm more stormy. I like a stormy night for sleep.
Oh, I do like a stormy night as well. But outside my window, we're just at the end house. So all you can see when you look out, if you can't sleep, is just trees. So I always go to, like, I picture the forest and like what I say everyone, what the animals are doing. We hear such like creepy sounds, but it's such, it's a good place to go to, thinking about what everyone else is doing. All the nocturnal that happens in a forest as well. It's just, that's really nice. I like that a lot.
Well, so going on that theory, that's not even a thing. We'll go with that. Going on that theory, who are your poetical influences? Who makes you shiver? Who tickles your wiggle?
I like W.B. Yeats, like of the kind of more traditional style, and John Clare is fantastic. But more recently I gotten into Charles Bukowski. I don't know if you've heard of I've forgotten his name now. That's really well rehearsed, isn't it? I can't remember this guy's name. Don't know if you've heard of him.
He's awesome. You'd love him.
Yeah, he's great. It's called William Carlos Williams. Very interesting name, and really niche poetry. Like, you have to read it to even understand what he's going on about. But stuff like that. I mean, but I was brought up on, like everybody, Ted Hughes and Sylvia Plath, and maybe a bit of Shakespeare, and the, you know, standard sort of secondary comprehensive stuff. But it went in. So
you still read poetry now?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And I like a lot of the stuff that's coming out locally. The people, you know, everyone that's producing books and stuff like that. I'm kind of vibing off of all the local people. I think
definitely.
There's not much difference in terms of appeal to me from somebody that's well published and, you know, got a massive following, from somebody that's local and that just comes up with something unique. I think that's the thing about poetry, isn't it? There's no real quality hierarchy. It's just what you like. And
because there's a really strong local scene, isn't there?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Strong. But it's really clandestine. It's really kind of like an underground scene. That's why I like it.
Absolutely.
Like I'm part of this underground movement of rebel poets, you know, which is great.
I just think there's everything. I think, like, when you go to poetry events, there's the absolutely ridiculous, like, and then you go to like people that you'll go home and you'll travel home and it just sticks with you. It's just a line that they say and it sticks with you. And because it is local, you can also draw upon like where they wrote it or what they were writing about, or sometimes. But I know what you mean. Like, the local poets around and what we get at Poetry as well, they're just absolutely incredible. So it's amazing. It's amazing to be a part of.
Because it's surprising, because English completely ruined it for me at school.
Yeah.
Seriously. I mean, I don't mind a bit of Shakespeare, but no, it just ruined it completely.
The dissecting of it, I think, and the repeating of the dissecting, it was just this cycle, and it's
just taking the fun out of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
I must have been really lucky, because I had one of those, you know, the teachers that you say you always remember because they were so good. I was really lucky to have an English teacher that I had. Shout out to Mr. Johnson if you're still around. But he, you know, I was in a really rough kind of stage of my life, really awkward and struggling with relationships and all sorts. But you know, he spoke to me and really kind of got under my skin, and particularly with poetry. So I think that's where my passion started and where I started to kind of relate to it. Particularly with things like Sylvia Plath, where she was really dark and mysterious and enigmatic. And I was like, yeah, this is amazing. Somebody else kind of feels really weird like I do.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of poetry as well. Even if at the time you don't resonate with anything they're saying, just to know that people are going through stuff, no matter what it is. I think poetry nights can feel quite heavy sometimes because, like you said, it's a place where people can offload and a place where people can share. And it's eye-opening to see what people go through, and even a struggle is a struggle, you know. And I think you can just share the fact that somebody's struggling. It doesn't really matter what it's with. So I think it's an amazing place to go just to feel a little less alone. Definitely.
So how do you start your poems? I mean, they must start somewhere. I sometimes finish I start with a rhythm, or invariably I start with an end line and work towards the end line. Soph, I don't know, where do you start? Did you start with an idea and just work from it, or
a glass of red wine and
that helps? That helps.
I wonder why there were so many spelling mistakes, Sophie.
No, you're not the only person that says that to me. I go to work and all of my workmates follow my page and they're like, for somebody that claims themselves as a writer, like your grammar and your spelling is horrific.
I was totally joking. I don't think I noticed any spelling mistakes at all.
Oh, there's loads, Ross. So where do you start? Where do you start?
It's difficult as well, proofreading your own stuff. I found that, like, I will miss stuff that somebody else wouldn't. And I think that's the important part of reading aloud to everybody as well, is you kind of get a feel for whether it's relatable or understandable even, because some of my stuff comes out so abstract that I think I read it and think, yeah, I know exactly what I'm talking about. But you try and relate it to somebody else and it's another language. So I think that's another aspect, isn't it? Being able to actually share it makes all the difference.
Definitely. I think when you write something, you can just be looking at it with tired eyes. You come back a few days later and you put like pauses in where you haven't put pauses, and you put I don't know, you start a brand new sentence. You do have to come back to it with fresh eyes. The first draft, albeit you're excited because you got it down, give it a few days just to simmer it, and it does help just to come back to it and try and make sure that the meaning behind it is then portrayed the way you want it to be portrayed. But I know for myself, as soon as I write something, I want to share it straight away, just because you're in a warm moment. But
and I'll record it, and I haven't got the inflection, I haven't got the tone, I haven't got the spacing, but you're just excited to get it out, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But no, what made me ask that question, Ross, was because I write random stuff, but none so random as your hamster doesn't care if you're a Nazi. Where the hell did that come from? That's one of my favourite poems. I love that.
Oh, you like it?
Yeah, love it.
Just to correct you, your gerbil doesn't mind
Sorry.
if you're a Nazi.
You changed the whole dynamic of that poem there.
Yeah. Sorry.
That's quite anti-species, you know.
No, it really is.
No. What was there was a question behind that, and I've forgotten what it was.
Oh yeah, how did you get to that? How did you get to that poem?
I think, like a lot of them, they start with an idea, or maybe like a phrase or something that just stands out, and you go, oh, that's a whole concept there. And then I end up going narrow and deep with that concept. So I'm like, well, how can I say that concept in ways that are relatable, stand out, that really emphasize the feeling behind it, the theme behind it? And the idea with that poem was that pets, although they do judge, and this is an interesting thing, animals do make judgments, but those judgments aren't based on the sorts of superficial things that humans judge on. Like, if I've got the hairstyle, you know, I'm cool. If I've got the right clothes, yeah, I rock. But an animal would just look to see whether we're dangerous or whether we've got food, you know, which I think is much more of a realistic or helpful judgment, you know. Like, and I know that there's like this whole thing in the animal kingdom where, you know, if you're the prettiest peacock, you're going to get the female. But I do think some of that is more functional and useful than, you know, whether we got the right pair of trainers on or something. So I guess it was just a comparative piece, and that idea came through, and I thought, well, how can I say that? Well, you know, Nazis are some of the worst things in the world, and gerbils are some of the cutest, sweetest little things. And I don't know, put the two together and you got a bit of a poem. I guess that's where it came from.
No, I'd have probably gone for something which rhymed a little bit easier.
Gerbils and Goebbels was fine.
Yeah, no, that was brilliant. That was genius. Yeah, I love that. Right, so on you go.
Okay. Well, first of all, I didn't know all animals judged. I thought it was just cats. I thought cats are very judgy.
Yeah.
Do all animals judge? Well, I suppose they judge a situation, like you said, don't they? About like deeming something safe or whether they're going to be prey for something. So yeah, I suppose they do sort of judge, weigh up a situation.
Yeah.
Oh, write a poem. You've inspired me. You have leading on to next then, what's happening in the future? Obviously you've got some headliners coming up, but anything planned for your future and your personal pipeline? Any exciting plans?
Well, I want to get this second book out, which at the moment the working title is Sleeping Lions.
Nice.
Good.
So yeah, that because that came off the back of a poem about the idea that lions, you know, they look quite cute when they're asleep, but if you want to go up and pet one, you might have to think twice. Just that idea of being, you know, kind of multiplicitous. There you go. Something that looks nice and cute might well have claws. But yeah, I think that's kind of the theme of the book, really. And I think in general with poetry, like you can be taken by surprise based on your own assumptions or surface level. If you look at something at a surface level, you know, it tends to reveal more if you go deeper. So yeah, that's coming up anyway. That I'm hoping to do that within the next month. Otherwise, just kind of generally following the poetry scene. Definitely always going to be a crucible for testing out poems to see whether they're well received or how they sound, just to read them out to people. Yeah.
Nice.
Poetry's handy for that, isn't it?
Definitely. I think poetry is such a good place to go, like you said, just to try that out, and not even about the response. Even if you have a good time, it's all that matters, you know, and just getting your beat, getting your rhythm and seeing how it sounds. I think sometimes some poems, I don't know about you two, but when I write something, sometimes it's not made to be spoken, and that's fine. But you don't know until you trial it out, do you? There's some of my poems that do not work as spoken pieces, and that's fine. But it's nice to trial them out and then deem them whether they're going to just be read or spoken. So
some of mine aren't meant to be read, so.
I would say on the opposite side of the coin that some of them are most definitely better read.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think like I agree. There's some that you're right, and you go, maybe that's one for me, maybe, or it's not for. It doesn't sound as good in person. It's in my head, but I think there's some that you just have to say the words because the sound of them is all important, like the vowel sounds that often come out and
maybe
stuff like that.
Just me. So do you remember when I think I was half drunk, half forgot my glasses, and you read?
I will not have that said about you, Soph.
Do you know
Would that be the first night we met, my sweet? Would it?
First night we met, and I demanded you read my poems out. We'd
not
never
just
met
blind drunk, but blind as well. Yeah,
exactly.
I did. Yes.
I just remember when I heard you speaking it, you've got a great tone anyway, but when I heard you speaking it, like having somebody else read your poem, that's a whole different experience. So like even that, maybe it's just me. I'm not the best. I hate speaking my poems. I hate reading my poems out. So even having somebody else to read them out for you, may change the whole dynamic of it. But
do you write yours to be read then, Soph?
No.
You write yours to be performed?
No.
You write them to be just read?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
I recently had a friend come to the Stanford Poetry Night, and he, unbeknownst to me, decided to read out one of mine.
Yes.
And I was like, oh no, don't do it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
On the list to read out, but he was like, no, I'm going to read one of yours as well. I was like, well, thank you very much. I'm really flattered and everything. But I was absolutely pooping myself. I don't know if I can swear.
Yeah.
Just you know, that's never happened before. Nobody's ever read one of my poems out, and like you probably experienced, it was surreal but really good.
Yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it? Because obviously poems can be quite personal, and having somebody read them out, it's not a voice that you've ever pictured it in. But I loved the way Si read mine out. I think you did it justice. It was absolutely brilliant, and you weren't drunk, so win-win. So
it would have been a problem if I was.
Oh no, that's amazing. And were you happy with the way he read it, or were you just in the moment? Was there anything that you didn't like about it?
Well, fortunately, he went for one of the more simplistic poems, so it wasn't like overly tongue twisty or complicated. It was quite a nice, easy to read poem. I think that was probably by choice. So yeah, he did a great job of it, and I was really grateful. It brought a bit of a tear to my eyes.
It's an amazing experience, not an experience that many would have either, because it's quite a brave thing to read somebody else's work, you know, and to allow somebody else to read it as well. I think on both parts. So yeah, that's amazing. Maybe we should do that. That could be a new idea for poetry. Everybody reading somebody else's work, so you don't actually read your own work.
Oh, that's an idea.
Isn't that good?
I like that.
Yes.
Awesome. Hey, look at us.
Brainstorming. Ross, you've now become the new host of Poetry. Welcome to For the times that I'm just not up for it, Ross will be there.
Right, we have got...
Not just reading somebody else's poem, that's taking somebody else's role, isn't it?
Yeah, it's literally taking someone else's life, isn't it?
I'm fine. I don't know why you two are getting so worked up about it. It's fine.
That's you know, when I don't feel like going into work, Sophie, you can cover for me. Is that all right?
100%. I just need to know what you do and what time to clock in, and I'll give it a go.
I listen to people's problems all day long. There you go.
Oh, yeah, well, we could give it a go.
Does anybody want to cover my job?
Oh, no, you can keep yours. That's one job I couldn't do, Si. Driving instructor, absolutely not. No.
Oh, I didn't know you was a driving instructor.
Yeah.
There's got to be a poem from that, is there?
Yeah, it's half written. Yeah, it's half written. Yeah. I haven't finished it yet. Yeah, we're getting there.
I feel like there's a lot of overlap, Si, with me and you. I feel like, not excluding you, Sophie, but I feel like Si writes a lot of poems that I would write.
Yes. Yeah, I feel that when I listen to yours. Yeah.
I'm like, damn you wrote that. I wanted to.
Exactly. Yeah. 100%.
Poetry.
But then we don't give people the feels like Soph does, do we?
Well, listen, I don't feel left out. If you want to compliment each other, that is absolutely fine. I don't feel left out.
Right, we have got 1.5 minutes left, so I'm going to crack on with a final question, Ross. I want a useless fact, mate. It's traditional for poetry. Have you got one up your sleeve?
No.
No.
No, because you know what? Every time you've asked me for a useless fact and I've researched it and actually come up with it, you've not asked me.
Oh, in theory, you should have loads on the burner then, shouldn't you?
Yeah. I just remember them because I've got nothing else to fill my head with. All right, how about this? That the baby's brain is not fully developed until a year after it's born.
Nice.
There you go.
Case, 50 years after it was born.
Yeah, I was coming up to that. Yeah.
Yeah, some of us just never get there.
Like, I don't even know how old you are, Si. I'm pretty sure you're not 50.
Not far off.
Anyway, I should have gone lower.
You should, shouldn't you?
I know you're not 50.
So you and me next at the end of this month, then, Ross.
Yeah.
New partner. Right, Ross, it's been amazing to talk to you. We're about to run out of video time.
Okay. Awesome.
Thank you so much for giving us the time. And we will talk to you. Well, we will hear you at the next poetry. What date is it, Sophie?
28th of September.
Excellent. Nice one.
Awesome. I've got some new stuff